Chapter 15. A God Buys Us Cheeseburgers. Okay, so this chapter actually took place at a restaurant where they run into Ares, the god of war. And then he sends them to a water park that's empty, like one where you go on rides and stuff. The creature they run into, there's no picture on this slide, is Ares, the god of war, who was in love with Aphrodite. I can tell you that here's the quote they used. After all, I'm the one who told him suspicions about old corpse breath. But a better description would be that when you meet Ares, you get really angry, like you want to fight, fight, fight. Here's what happens in the chapter. And this is what Ares looks like in Percy Jackson. This is what Ares looks like. Not the way you think. And not like this big classic guy with a sword. More like a big dude with a baseball bat. Okay. Percy calls Camp Half-Blood, yes, using water. He shimmers and can speak to Luke, who's back at Camp Half-Blood, who says everyone there is fighting because Zeus and Poseidon are having a war. Luke says he's pretty sure it's Hades that stole the Master Bolt, obviously. They go to dinner and they meet a big biker dude. It's Ares. Ares says, go get my shield from the Tunnel of Love, like a water ride. So Annabeth and Percy have to go on the Tunnel of Love, which is very embarrassing. But it's a trap. There's little cameras filming them, and it shows the whole world. They catapult out, but on the way out of the king catapulted, like thrown out of the ride, they do grab Ares' shield. Percy is really mad because he was embarrassed because he was in the Tunnel of Love with Annabeth, and everybody saw it. Ares gives Percy at the end of this chapter a backpack. It contains the following items. I want you to remember this. Oreos. That's true. Clothes. And some money. But he has a backpack that Ares gave him. After that, they go to chapter 16, which is called We Take a Zebra to Vegas, Las Vegas, right? This chapter takes place in Las Vegas. And they go to a hotel that makes them crazy, but I will sort of show you more about that in a minute. Actually, the only person they run into here again is Ares, is still from the last chapter, and he gives them a big backpack, like I said, full of Oreos, clothes, and $20. Okay? And he puts them on a truck and sends them to Vegas. Well, what happens in Las Vegas? They go to the Lotus Casino. Pay attention. This is it. Ares tells Percy his mother is not permanently dead. She's being held, probably by Hades. He puts them on a cart to Vegas with some animals. The animals are really mad. They go to the Lotus Hotel or Casino. The hotel has video games, which is really cool, but they realize time was like a time warp. They had 6 or 7 days left to finish their quest, and they realize, just like that, 5 days went by. They escaped the casino, but they realized, dun dun dun, there's only 1 day left to get the Master Bolt and return it. Chapter 17. What's going to happen? Let's find out. Chapter 17, I'll move this a little bit so you can see it, is called We Shop for Water Beds, like beds made out of waterbed type material. It takes place in a waterbed store called Krusty's Waterbed Palace. It's in Los Angeles. They're very close to the underworld now, because that's where they were told the underworld would be. And Hades has the Master Bolt, so that's what they're getting there for. They run into a Nereid. She is underwater, and she's like a mermaid. They also run into one more bad guy named Procrustes. Here's what happens. They go to Monica Pier, which is in California. Percy goes underwater. He can breathe. The Nereid gives him 3 pearls, and I want you to remember those pearls because they are huge. They have the ability to warp you anywhere you need to go. But they're only one-time use. And he only has 3 of them, but that's okay because the only 3 people are him, Annabeth, and Grover. They get chased by a group of kids into a waterbed store. They meet Procrustes, another Greek mythological creature. He traps Grover and Annabeth on the waterbeds, and ropes come out and try to pull them apart, like stretching them. Percy grabs Riptide, kills Procrustes, cuts the ropes, and they run out of the waterbed store. On the way out, they find a picture that says the DOA recording studio is the entrance to the underworld, and it has an address. Finally, they are able to go into the underworld through the DOA recording studio. That stands for Dead on Arrival. And that's what's going to happen in Chapter 18, the last chapter we're going to look at real quick here. Chapter 18 is called Annabeth Goes to Obedience School. And here's a picture perfectly from this chapter that you'll see. You know it's going to be this dog. They're going to go into the underworld. Yes, that's creepy and weird. Here's what happens. The creature they're going to run into here really is Cerberus. A giant Rottweiler, which is not what this is here, but that's close, with 3 heads. Here's the quote. I'd always imagined Cerberus as a big black mastiff, but he was obviously a Rottweiler, except of course that he was twice the size of a woolly mammoth. Mostly invisible, and he had 3 heads. Another picture of the underworld. Here's what happens. Percy, Annabeth, and Grover go into the DOA, and they bribe Karen, who's the guard, to get in. So yeah, they go into the underworld. Cerberus guards the gates. So what do? My favorite part of this chapter. Annabeth takes a red ball and throws it, and Cerberus chases it. Because you know what? He's just a regular dog. LOL. When he chases after the ball, they run past him. And then he comes back begging them to throw it again, but they don't. They just sneak into the underworld. And guess what? It's time to meet Hades in the underworld.